This is one of the best reverb plugin I've ever used, and it's called Blackhole by Eventide. My name's ESPER. This is the Radium plugin of the week. Let's dive into this.
Oh. Okay.
Today we're talking about the Blackhole by Eventide. Make sure to click the link in the description to grab your copy and follow along with me. This is probably one of the most creative and fun reverb I've ever used. It's a very abstract plugin, I would say. It's not your typical reverb that you're gonna go, you know, when you want a nice normal plate reverb. But it's more of an effect and fun reverb to play around, and I use it a lot in electronic music. So let's dive into a couple presets, then we can, you know, check out the different options. So I've got this little Vox chop here. Let's throw Blackhole on there. So it sounds immediately super good. Let's dive in through. Let's go through some presets. That's what I love. It's those type of presets where it is a reverb, but with really, really short spaces, you kind of create those sonic elements. Super sick. That's also why I use it a lot sometimes, where I'll have a very intense preset with the mix full on, then I'll just create another channel, putting on resampling. Forgot to put recording, there we go. So I'll record the tail just like this, and then we'll turn the mix down, and then, you know, I'll chop some pieces. Super useful, and you know that this is just a super unique tail because the plugin sounds so special, you know? You've got your mix knob, right? 0 to 100, pretty standard, dry, wet. Then second knob is this gravity knob. So let's check this gravity knob because I think it's one of the most interesting one. So this is where it gets cool because it goes from -100 to 100. The 0, when you're in the middle position, is actually off. And what I understand of this gravity knob is that if you turn it all the way up to 100, then you're placing the vocal on top of the effect, and the effect is kind of staying in the background. But if you reverse the gravity, that's where you kind of reverse that process, and the vocal is going to be like the dry signal is kind of going to be really far in the background. The effect is going to be prominent. So really useful if you're using that on a send, you know, and you're sending multiple signals into that black hole. Definitely has a reverse effect built into it too, so super useful to do some cool effects. Then classic size, pretty self-explanatory. So super useful for all metallic effects. You know, I use that a lot on basses. Even during the drop, for example, we have this drop section here. So if we throw that on that group, for example, another black hole, and go pretty high gravity and pretty small size. There you go. You get this very metallic effect. You know, not just a reverb, not just made for vocals or whatever. It's a very versatile reverb plugin that you can use on a lot of things. And that's why I love it so much. Let's go back to our little chop. So that's our size button. Then we got a pre-delay, pretty standard, but very useful and underrated feature on pretty much over every reverb plugins is pre-delay. Not a lot of people know that pre-delays are pretty important, especially if you want your vocal to cut through. You know, you leave a little bit of time between when the vocal, when the signal is going through the plugin, and then when the plugin actually starts to reverb, so that your vocal doesn't get too mushy, you know, and to drown into the reverb. Then we got a classic EQ. Where you can really shape the tone, you know. And then we get into our modulation section, which is really easy. Once again, we got a feedback, how many times the signal repeats, and a resonance based off the EQ, right? You can see that there's a little gray area that connects the three knobs. So that resonance is actually the resonance of that EQ that you got right above it. And then the classic depth and rate. You can see when I start moving the rate thing, this little, what is that, plasma line starts to modulate a lot faster. And then the depth is obviously how much you're using the modulation, as well as the final tempo button if you want it on manual, where you can select the rate right here. If you click and drag on the BPM, or sync if you want to sync it to this tempo of your project, or off for kind of crazier effects. So the really cool thing about that modulation section is that you can actually select an in and an out point of any parameters you want. So let's say that I want to automate, or not really automate, but I want to build a range scale of the depth. So let's say I want to start around 30. I'm going to put the knob at 30 and click the in button. Now I'm going to move it to wherever I want that range to stop. Let's say 70, for example. And now I'll click the out button. So it means that now, wherever you get that little plasma line thing, you're basically choosing a point in that range, you know, so all the way down, all the way up. So it's really easy to be really precise while dialing parameters, and also obviously automation. Obviously, as you go and start, you know, adding in and out points of multiple parameters, like so, boom, and then we'll make it go up until here. And then let's say that the mix in is also here, and then we'll do the out point all the way up. And so now, whenever you move that line, it's automating every parameter that you set it to. And so it's really useful for any types of effects or any types of automation, because you just click that little guy right here, you know, you draw whatever you need to draw, just like this, and Blackhole will follow it. So that just opens up to unlimited potential, unlimited effects. I use that a lot in build-ups where I'll automate multiple parameters. Usually I really like to do, you know, obviously the mix goes all the way up just like this, and then gravity is where I'll start an in point at 0 because, you know, it's the middle, and then we'll do the out point at -100. So as you turn the mix up, the gravity comes back down. So actually, let's also automate the size. You know what? So in point is going to be right here, and out point will go all the way -7 or something, just like that. So now, you know, you start with mix at 0 like this, and then as you go up, everything, you know, opens up and turns on. So perfect for build-ups, stuff like this. Anyway, super dope. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, notification, all that good stuff. Also, click the link down in the description if you want to grab your copy of Blackhole by Eventide and get some crazy effects going. My name is ESPER. This is the plugin of the week. I'll see you guys next time. Peace!